So thank you and welcome again to the Rio Grande Valley International Poetry Festival. This is our 15th annual, and we're working out, of course, the glitches being hybrid this year. Hopefully, we can go in person and live next year. So up first, I want to welcome our first featured poet, Wang Ping. If you can say a little bit, say something about yourself and what you've been working on, and then give us some of your poetry. And the same would go for everyone else that I call up featured poet wise.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Ed, for inviting me to this festival. I love Texas and I actually hunted some rocks when I was doing a residency at MAFA. I don't know if you know MAFA in Texas, the
Right,
mystical light, right? Fire and beautiful museums and also Big Bend National Park there. It's just wonderful. And yeah, I love Texas, I have to say. And so I have been working on translation of from Chinese to English, English into Chinese, translating both, just both ways poetry. And I have several manuscripts getting ready, and um, and I actually translated some of Ed's poetry into Chinese, and they're going to be published by a Mongolia magazine, poetry magazine. So it's really exciting. And thank you so much for everyone to be here. I wish I were there and was my prayer flags, Kingship of Rivers project. And I'm going to read from my new manuscript. It's called "The River in Our Blood." I will just read the first four poems from the manuscript, and I will. And the first one, since it's spring, and maybe it's really warm already in Texas, but in Minnesota, it's still like 29-degree in the morning. It's still frozen, and so everyone is getting impatient for the winter to come. So, but in just like 3 days, I know the green will just explode. The spring comes like a bomb in the north. Okay, so I wrote this poem called Biography of Green, an edible sonnet ghazal. And the green color is very interesting. It really sits in the middle of the color wheels, and it's the color the next two in between blue and yellow. And it's the color, literally, it's the color for life. And every shade of green has something to do with food, edible. So, so I couldn't help myself writing this ghazal. With fiddle hands, I fold and unfold light, painting air with emerald green, turning CO2 into sugar plus oxygen, till I drape the earth with 24 shades of green. This planet was born in a ball of fire, then basalt, then granite, then glacial ice. With sleight of hand, I pickled her into lime, sage, basil, pear, and apple green. I tap, clap, spin, whisper, sway with willows, my juniper veins open to the sun, my moss blood running towards roots, and life sings with parakeet green. Awakened from Arctic dreams, I chase grassland and forests with seaweed tendrils. A linchpin between sky and earth, my wavelengths paint cypress with spruce mint green. Spectrum between blue and yellow, Rosetta Stone for fern, shamrock, seafoam. Sitting amidst the rainbow wheel, I open seasons with chartreuse mustard green. Chinese make no difference between blue and green, but believe 青出于蓝必胜于蓝. So let green equals chlorophyll equals photosynthesis equals oxygen equals glucose equals pear, pine, ocean, green. A cycle without beginning or end. My sapphire waves shimmering, lighting up first word, smell, taste, sound, touch, till earth hangs on the trick of olive green. Count pollens on cypress, count clapping hands on aspen trees, count trees on earth, behold earth in my palms of 120 quadrillion leaves, a panthalassa of pistachio green. Next is it's called hippocampus.
Recording in progress.
I have a medical degree, actually traditional Chinese medicine, and half of my courses are in Western, half is acupuncture, herbs, and the theory of Chinese traditional medicine. And my focus is really for neuroscience, our brain. And my favorite part, I love every part of our brain, but the favorite part is hippocampus for memory. Hippocampus, seat of memories for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The only part of brain that keeps growing or shrinking. It's a needle sewing the past and future together. A handful of threads weaving reality into silk brocade. Use or lose it, says the neurologist. If we don't recall or reinvent our pain, love, joy, fear, anger, or sorrow, how do we keep our past? Without past, how do we find humanity? Without humanity, how do we stand? And how the instance of now holds onto the future. Handsome H.M. lost his hippocampus to live a normal life. He was tossed into the sea of present tense, drifting between now and here, hospital and lab tests, between happiness and sorrow. But where's the young gentleman Henry? Who is the good old Henry M. without a story? Homo sapien experts tell us the size of our hippocampus is the key for memory, its foundation for logic and emotions. Logic and emotions allow us to plan our future, is the hallmark that separates us from beasts. But how do we explain elephants carrying the biggest memory house for smell, sound, touch, and love, and chimps who play politics better than the baboons in the White House, and the crows who remember faces and know what to do with friends or enemies, monarchs who remember every milkweed to stay alive along its migration route. We think we know as priests, scientists, and conquerors. But do we know what we don't know? Do we hear gayers weeping for our misfortune? Do we see animals laughing from their kingdoms as they watch how we scheme our escape from this wheel of memories? How we untangle ourselves from the spoke of time and space. The next is magic. Birds sing because they have a song in their throats. Fish swim because they have an ocean in their bellies. The wind blows to play with the rivers and valleys. Raindrops fall as messengers upon the earth. We move with the dance in our spirits. Children run as the world unfolds under their feet. This is the secret of magic, hidden in our brains. The people and their small things, if all taken away, what would we miss? The rustle of oak trees at dusk, the foaming river outside the window, the smell of children coming home, cheeks red from the snow. The little thing you say that's not funny, but I laugh anyway just because. The birds cannot be imitated. The flowers cannot be colored. The sea can't be dammed. The mountains cannot be conquered. This is the sound of magic, running in our veins, moving the sky and earth, passing through us like rivers. All the noise on earth will die, but not the silence of faith, this innocence persisting to believe, to see more than what can be seen. The last poem is called The Third Eye. Again, it's about April, about the spring. And I'm an avid gardener and bird watcher. So my yard under my roof always has a robin nest, and I just watch them all the time. They're just so smart and so cute. And they migrate from Texas to Minnesota. And they already been here for 3 weeks, I believe, and eating worms. So it's called The Third Eye. It's mid-April. A blizzard arrives with hail and sounds of chimes. Robins have begun their flight to the north, following the smell of snow and rain, the thawing earth, and the worms' vertical migration. On her 80th birthday, my mother asked if I would go home one more time. A brainstorm in soft simplicity, a debate if I should become a citizen after 3 decades of wandering in America. A friend sent me The Third Snow by Evgeny Yevchenko, a century-old poem from Siberia. Blizzard is indifferent to space and time. Please don't go back home, pleads Gary Snyder, tears in his eyes. You don't know you are on their list, right? Via WeChat, my brother marvels at my home in St. Paul, how affordable compared to his 6 million yuan hole on the island. He's willing to forego the breeze from East China Sea for a place in Minnesota freeze. Yesterday I rode 15,000 meters in my single scull. Today the Mississippi moans again under ice. Yet robins know how to wait. They know when spring rides the cold front, when worms awaken the earth, they follow the 37th-degree isotherm for their flight between Guatemala and Minnesota. I applied for citizenship 3 times, but chickened out after I did my fingerprints. I never showed up for the swearing. For 30 years, my mother had tried to unlock the secret of Dao De Jing. She was allowed to step into the way only after she lost her sight at 73. I know I'm on the list. I was arrested talking to migrants in the village, now 178 meters under the dam. But I still can't cut my roots. When a blizzard blows robins off course, they fly towards the sun, following its angled light to get back on track. 2 free radicals spin in their eyes under the blue light, like 2 lovers, radiant with joy. This is their quantum coherence. our inner compass through each blizzard towards home. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Up next, we have from here in McAllen, Benito Pastoriza Yodo.
Readings from McAllen, Texas, reading from Reynosa, Mexico. Thank you, Edward. Thank you for inviting me to the Rio Grande Valley International Poetry Festival. I will be reading 3 sonnets from the unpublished book, 24 de tu esencia, 24 of your essence. The sonnets in the book are grouped in 4 cycles: morning sonnets, the afternoon sonnets, evening sonnets, and nocturnal sonnets. I will read the original Spanish version, followed by the translations into English done by my husband, Bradley Warren Davis. And I would like to dedicate this reading to the LGBTQ plus activists now fighting for human rights in Florida, where I lived for 18 years, fighting for the human rights in the United States and around the world. So these sonnets are for you and for all of you. El primero, 7 de alborada, de los sonetos matutinos. Al despertar de tus sábanas doradas, emerges en sueño de viva querencia, solitario con la mirada vacía presente, asesinada luces, mártires de la noche, que una a una vertió sus fantasmas de hombres que se desean eternamente, en verde lujuria de sus besos allanados, en las caricias de músculos extenuados. Y ahora eres titán imperecedero de todo, el señor amo de la fragancia de los días, tótem de mi fervor en júbilo alborazado, una narcosis revuelta, anhelo de la nada, la visión de somnolencias a sol mayor, quimera visión de lo que se es preciado. And in English, dawn at 7 from the morning sonnets. Upon waking from your golden sheets, you emerge drowsy from deep affection, solitary with a vacant gaze, present, slain light, martyrs of the night, that one by one pour their spectacles of men that desire each other eternally, in verdant lust of smooth kisses and caresses of exhausted muscles. And now you are everlasting Titan of all, the Lord Master of the fragrance of the days, totem of my fervor in ecstatic jubilation. On Arcosa's revolted yearning for nothingness, the addition of somnolence in G major, chimera vision of what which is cherished. Y ahora, de los sonetos vespertinos, el soneto somnolencia. Duerme mi niño grande, duerme mi niño fuerte, que el juego del amor rinde como la muerte. Cantaría clara mayor a nuestro lullaby mayor, que es el letargo menor de los sentidos huidos. Te veo lentamente alejarte de lo que más quiero, aquella presencia viva de saberte acaso poseído, de saber que la sangre te corre como estampida al epicentro de la existencia que no se concreta. Duermes como el niño grande de hazañas estelares, buscando una a una estrellas desprovistas de dioses. En tu mano se recoge el manojo de los sueños vivos. Duermes como niño fuerte, volcando deidades griegas, lanzando tus zarpazos de león a los cielos revestidos. Sí, duerme niño grande, niño fuerte rendido en amores. And in English, the same sonnet from the evening sonnets, Somnolence. Sleep, my grown child, sleep, my strong boy, that the game of love tires one like death. Clara Lear would sing our great lullaby, which is a minor lethargy of fugitive senses. I see you slowly distance yourself from that which I most love, that living presence of knowing that perhaps you are possessed, to know that blood runs through you like a stampede to the epicenter of your existence that does not materialize. You sleep like a grown child of stellar feats, seeking one by one stars devoid of gods. In your hands are gathered a bundle of living dreams. You dream like a strong boy, toppling Greek deities, launching your blows of a lion at the cloaked heavens. Yes, sleep grown child, strong boy, surrendered in loves. And y el poema final, o el soneto final de este libro de sonetos, se titula Alba, de la sección Los sonetos nocturnos. La noche se despeja de tus olivos, madrugada de amaneceres nuevos. Llega la pureza encantada de vuelta a los primores del alba desconocida. Sujeto a fuerzas viriles de macho recio, descubro brotes de alegrías sanguíneas, resurrecciones de voracidad masculina. El hombre ido ha renacido en mis brazos. Arribas con ventiscas que despiertan el día. Amaneceres de sol mojado revitalizan albas, como sueño profundo desaparecido en antes. Para siempre permaneces presente en mi vista, presagio de lo que invariablemente me perdura. Monarca, arcángel, príncipe, noble de mis sueños. And the final sonnet for this reading, it's from the section, the Nocturnal Sonnets, and it's titled Dawn. The night is dispelled in your olive eyes, early morning of new daybreaks. The enchanted purity arrives returned to the delicacy of the unknown dawn. Subject to the virile forces of tough macho, I discover hints of sanguine joys, resurrections of masculine ferocity. The man gone has been reborn in my arms. You arrive with blizzards that awaken the day. Daybreaks of moist sun revitalize the dawns, like a profound dream immediately forgotten. Forgot, forever you remain present in my sight, omen of that which for me invariably endures. Monarch, archangel, noble prince of my dreams. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Benito. And right now we're going to, because we're doing a hybrid and we've got readers that are also in person and we have the virtual readers, we're also working with a collective here at the McAllen Incubator. And I'd like for them to talk a little bit more about it before we go back to our final featured readers and go from there. So I'm going to point the camera towards the stage so that y'all can get a feel for what's going on over here too. So if you can mute yourself, Benito, and everyone else, Um, we can just have our screen going. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll let Victoria talk a little bit about Unfolded. And then we'll go ahead and introduce our first reader from the sign-up sheet.
So I think you've already heard a little bit about the workshops and kind of what our goals are of bringing together groups in collaboration right now with the Valley International Poetry Festival. So we still have how many people? We have 38 different people joining us internationally from different countries. They're going to be reading their poetry and listening to us read ours. So it's going to be really interesting for us. And the whole goal is through our writing, we want to go ahead and develop our written voice so that when we're given the opportunity to speak in person, we know how to properly represent ourselves. Really just give voice to who we are, to give identity to our mission. So we want to go ahead and give space and grow together in our sexuality because we are a body and together and hopefully get back together. So that is of dialogue, a reflection of who we are really and how we can have people around us, right? And hopefully we can learn about ourselves by hearing what you read. So this is why this is so important for us to, have these kind of intimate type groups. So we're gonna bring Sydney, right? Yeah. Sydney, where art thou? There she is. There they are.
Good shot, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect. Cool. Hi everyone, I'm Sydney. Today I'm going to be reciting some blackout poetry, the kind where you take a Sharpie to a sheet from a book or something, and this is from the book In the Wilderness, and so here it goes. Impermanent, fluid, stubborn, impossible. It ran until exhausted, quieter, blended, waiting to break, to give up. Shadows darkened, no one moved, so patient and clear. Shade became the light. I could no longer see what was left. I reclaimed, I ceased. Time sank and disappeared. How long, I thought. I stepped back, and only then did I know. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. Do this if you can hear me. Okay, perfect. I'm like, hello. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay. Ready?
Say hi.
Okay. I'm reading 2 poems today, and I'm a student at UCharTV. I'm glad to be here. Thank you. The first one's called Where Do I Belong? Where do I belong? Do I deserve to long for a forest in which trees never grow? Do I deserve to ponder whether I can be a rose bush in a field filled with thorns? It goes to show that oil and water don't belong together, no matter how much they try to wither. Oil needs to be soluble in order to not suffer. Water needs to pass through waves in order to prosper, which leaves me to wonder, which one am I? In the mammoth of mystical mysteries, I look back on my life, let go of my pride, take it all in strides. My riptides aren't possible in the perilous presence of insoluble oil, unmovable, unchangeable, firm to its roots. Whereas water consistently changes in waves and tides, when it is allowed to not just survive, but to thrive. In order to be in love with my life, I reflect while staring at my reflection with the pawn's discretion. And I also feel the need to mention, at 9 years of age, acted fine, felt older, not allowed to cry on anyone's shoulder. I felt I had to go to my office and start to work on my taxes. I confess, I confess. Now at 21, I'm on the risk of getting hit by the ball in recess. I confess, I confess. When I was young, I couldn't weep, so now at 21, I bite my tongue before I speak. Thank you. I have one more, and this one's called Trauma. All right, I'm ready. Trauma. You and me have a peculiar dynamic. Trauma. You're the very obstacle that sends me to panic. Trauma. I used to be so obsessed with ignoring you. Trauma. I perplexed and fixated with the darkest hues of blue. Trauma. I finally went to file that restraining order on you for closure. Trauma like a cold sore. You tore through me so profusely till I poured. Trauma. I thought I had eventually washed away your hues. Trauma. You spill rotten milk over the finest of my Tupperware, clean to perfection as I underslept. You're the malevolent guest, never letting me rest, putting me in the test. The cycles till I go depressed. Trauma. You told me you know my exact address. Trauma. Maybe that is why I see you through the cracks of the window pane. Trauma. No matter what I did to hide your gray, brightest day, it remains plastered over the royal blues of my walls. Trauma. You and me both recognize the walls that this godforsaken house was built upon. Trauma. Why do you know the structure of my home so eloquently? Trauma. Were you the one to build these rigid doors to the heart of the home? Trauma. Did you build this den in which only some men can enter again? Trauma. Only you can build this shelter with such delicacy and vulnerability. Trauma. I finally figured you out. You built this home, not I. But yet, that's the tragedy, the fallacy, that I built this house too with your assistance. But now I choose to leave this cage and my persistence. Thank you. I promise I'm okay.
A little tall for me. Hi, hello. I moved it down. I was like, look, it's perfect now. Can you hear me? Yes. Hi, my name is Anna. I'm gonna be reciting some poems that I wrote. I don't know how many, but in advance, I apologize. The first one is called The White Dove with Clipped Wings. He stares out the window, longing for the freedom of breeze and sky. Stuck in a cage, he mourns the life he could have had, wishing to be set free. Without it ever becoming a reality, he started smashing his fragile body into the cage several times. Gruesome, alleviated, dead, but at peace. Why live when you can't breathe the air of life? In the end, what's the point? Next, we have Fate. Your dark silhouette stands behind me, roughly caressing my cheek, trailing your hands downward, slowly slipping them around my neck, smiling as I fight for air, laughing as I swing at your shadow, bleeding as I drag my nails down your arm. But all that comes out is obsidian-colored blood, tasting bitter and acidic. It sends shivers down my spine, but for some reason, it feels like home. Okay, maybe we can skip this one. Okay. This next one is called, last one, we'll say last one. This last one is called 18. I'm an adult. These words ring through my head with an undignified silence. I know what I'm doing. These words, childish and fiend. I'm scared. These words never uttered unless you're held to it. I'm not ready. The truth, for it's insane. The concept itself, that once you reach a certain number, your life is meant to change. A certain age, and suddenly the world as you knew it is strange. dangerous, a whole new place. I'm still a child. I scream mom when I cry. I call dad when the seasons change. I can't help it. Where it's already embedded deep in my brain to reach for my parents when I'm hopeless and in pain. But they can't be there every step of the way, accompanying me in every twist and turn, because in time they won't be able to keep up. I have to let go of the kiddish brain that mommy and daddy will rid what I can't sustain. I won't lie. Of course I miss you. All of you. But if I stay here, you'll end up missing me. The real me, not the one I pretend to be. For the sake of my own sanity, set me free. Let me be just 18. Thank you. Everyone. Yes,
Hey. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin. I write poetry. I like to think of the art of writing poetry as taking myself on a journey. And when I read it, I like to bring y'all on that journey with me. All right? So the first poem I'm going to read today is called Hair of the Dog. And it's about what you do when you've got a hair. Really bad. A question. When the fateful hour comes and the living stops and you have to live again, when your mistakes are laid out warm and sticky and shameful in the too cold light of day, and you're left with a bad headache and clothes that stink of sweat and smoke and new minted regrets and maybe some old ones too, crystal sharp self-loathing. What then? Don't worry, I've got a cure for you. 100% foolproof. Guaranteed effective or your money back. Think, just for a minute, about drugs and war and sex and God and fast food empires and how the faith of the slaves became the faith of the kings. About electrons and energy, barcodes and blood diamonds, hybrid cars and high rises, angel dust and porn stars. Think just for a minute on atoms with broken nuclei, disconnected like fractures of a fracture, or a vision of a future, digital clones dancing in the dark to a terabyte waltz conducted by billionaires. Think just for a minute on silicone sirens wailing from the streets, on dust devils and single mothers with more pride than sense struggling to make ends meet, on Bible mantras and hypocrisy, on sodomy and rhapsody and isolation too, on dreams and gunas and the illiquid price of your own self-hatred, on all the blooming things that never were. Think just for a minute on all the systems that broke us, the ones that we built that sold you yourself or a self for just $79.99, taxes not included. Think about fear and fire and the taste of hot lips, about what we have and what we've lost, and all the maybes and the babies and the bony dogs and the gutters with the rabies, and all the starving artists hunched over in the pre-dawn darkness, sucking down poison clouds of ritualistic passion, banishing their demons with the coming of the sun. Think on all that, and on the rising oceans of the always tomorrow, here today. Think on all the years we deserved to have, and all the things we should have been and never were, but might be, if we could only remember how. Think on how our times are like a deep breath, sucked in very suddenly, held for 1,000 years, and now let out all at once. Gnaw on the human condition for a while, and trust me, your hangover will clear right up. Nothing quite like the hair of the dog that bit you. This next poem is called Manifest Destiny, and it's about America. But out we went anyway, rampant, with the engine of our aimless youth roaring at our backs, pounding like a skin-deep drum, spilling smoke into our eyes as we declared war on the days to come. We stole a pair of bicycles and rode them, masterless, like Che, through the Appalachian opioid towns, searching for the spark of a revolution yet to be. And in the skeleton shell of dying Nola, we sat ankle deep in salt water and swill and dreamed a dream of Mardi Gras until one day we tired at last of the sinner South and her sordid heart and of loving her despite ourselves. So we gave in to cowardice and fled helter-skelter over the dying Dust Bowl deserts of West Texas and hitchhiked shoeless like carpetbaggers to the Inland Empire, which was an empire all the same, where we came to know men who broke their backs under an evil sun for cents on the hour until their hands split and swelled and grew redder than the fruits they plucked, and where the city streets swarmed not with rats, but with people like rats, a houseless and a hated humanity, until at last we could stomach this too no longer, and our pilgrimage took us rambling on, past slouching factories crowned with rust, and shriveling neighborhoods crackling with the uncertain energy of a dream deferred, or perhaps a destiny manifest. Through the flyover lands, where the atom bombs lie dreaming beneath amber waves of corn, and over the crocodile country, where the sun shines rancid and the lies grow old and the lines of your face, on, at last to Harlem, the Negro Jerusalem, where we found the rude tide of time had beat us there by 20 years and washed all the Negroes away. We raced across the continent like stars of scorn, searching for a future yet to be born. And instead we found ourselves in a stinking nightclub bathroom in Soho, where we ourselves were born again and crawled out revitalized and radicalized, so that on a freezing February morning, we stood shaking on Plymouth Rock like the Puritans of a new age, preaching a morality parallel to everything we had known, and boiled ourselves warm with anger when no one else could dare to dream. This is the last one. It's called Lies. My mama was a liar. No, she wasn't. And so I am too. Yes, I am. I learned it like I learned the samba. I can't dance. Slowly and bitterly, with little love lost for my teacher. I learned to kiss like I learned to lie, with lots of tongue and lots of heart, as easily as breathing, and with about as much meaning. I built that myself, you know, lie, lying on lie, uncounted millions of them, each one pregnant with the weight of every soft guilt and selfish need and bad night, stretching from the Bronx to the Rio Grande, spanning the whole nation, corner to corner like railroad lines. I built it all myself, lie, lying on lie, spite, spitting spite. And you know what else? I loved it every fucking second. No, I didn't.
All right. Weren't they awesome? Wow.
You guys could turn your microphone and applause. Give
Yeah.
compliments.
Right, right.
Yay!
That was great, y'all. Yeah, these are awesome. Thank you, thank you. Now we'll go back to our featured art poets, and the first one to come back to us is Denise Chavez. Hi, Denise. Go ahead.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. You can hear me, right?
How do you
Yes.
Oh my God, here I am shouting. Okay. Thank you for the invitation. I'm deeply honored to be here. The Rio Grande Valley is a magical place that I love so deeply. I wish I could be there in person, but I'm here now in Las Cruces. I work with refugees, migrants, giving books to people that are traveling on the Great Road. I have a bookstore. Recently, we started a little free library at apartments for the formerly homeless. My ambition in this world is to give away as many free books to people as possible. And so I'm very honored to have the gift of many donations. I have a bookstore in a very poor neighborhood in Las Cruces on the Camino Real. And I noticed that there were a lot of mops everywhere, mops at the front door. And I wanted to get to the why of this. I think that's what poets do, the why of things. And so I wrote a poem called Mop, Trapeador. Here it is to my vecindad and to my gente. How hard is it to find a mop in Las Cruces, Nuevo Mexico, 42 miles from the Mexico border? Give it a try, mi gente. You'll find a mop by the front door in my Mexicano part of town, my Camino Real part of town, my Jornada del Muerte side of town, my poor east side full of crumbling adobes, bad plaster jobs, dilapidated abandoned cars, aging saggy couches dumped curbside, random reckless dogs walking nonchalantly mid-street without a care in the world, side of town, streets with names like Tornillo, Mesquite, Espina, streets named for trees and goat heads and western states. Oh, you'll find that mop all right outside the houses of my gente, that upended old mop near their front door, drying out in the sun, no moisture to be accounted for, no matter the season. Our mops are always dry. What do our mops say about our people? Their gray, overwashed greñas upside down near too many front doors. We clean. We are a cleaning people. We're too busy cleaning your house, your home, to clean our own. We work hard, but not hard enough to make a decent living. We can't afford that fancy mop at Best Buy. Oh no, we can't afford that fancy shampoo. We're too busy. We're in a hurry. There's always something else to attend to children, animals, familia. It's not that we're afraid of mops. No, mi gente, it's not on this side of town. Not mi gente. Function rules here. Trapo side flailing out, a cotton crown for all to see, long hairy strands dried out and shaped by the wind and sand. The old kind with the long cotton gray entrails. The old mops we knew were wrung out by hand. You remember them? That twisting, turning motion of hands, the old tina full of brownish water, An ugly chore. Now your turn. We know the old trapeador. We've danced with it, swabbed it, soaked it, splattered it, sprayed with it, laid it down, picked it up again and again. We've all taken a turn with La Greñuda. The mop from the grocery store with the retractable head gave way to the steam mop. It was a good idea, carnala, because it's you I'm addressing, mija. You, the woman who mops. Let me ask you, when was the last time you saw a man in your family mopping? When did he use a trapeador, a fregadora, el lampazo, el trapero, el mapo, el mapa, la mapa, el mapeador, el mechudo, la greñuda, el piso fregona? The steam mop was a really good idea until the manufacturer did away with that model and stopped making the $7 soap that you had to buy for that special mop. I'm going back to the blue-headed mop. I refuse to go back to the trapeador. They were good in their way. They swabbed a good swatch. We saw our mothers and our mothers' helpers, ayudantes, not maid. Yes, we saw them swabbing that mop back and forth like a ball and chain across that familiar floor. Exhausted they were and still working. Someone always had to get down on their hands and knees to get into those corners. Now that I am older, I can get down. It's the getting up that's the problem. I can get down a flight of stairs. It's the going forward that strains. Ay, mi gente, you with the mops near your front door. What would it take to bring them inside? Leave them out back, tucked in a corner of the kitchen, in that utility room, in the garage, away from the light of day, from the peering eyes of those who drive by and wonder, why the hell are there so many mops in this neighborhood by the front door? Why, my side of town is giving way to gentrification. Sad to see, mi gente. You don't see our mops there in the new stuccoed houses, do you? These remodels everyone has, but mi gente, somebody's gonna make money from this, but you'll never see the mops outside. Not those raggedy ass mop heads waving in the April wind like unkempt moco-nosed chamacos with lagaña crested eyes saying to the world, somos mexicanos. Somos Chicanos. I live here and so does my mop. Unos de ellos feos, viejitos peludos, lleno de no sé qué y más. Yes, that kind of a mop. The old ones. Once a neighbor in Santa Fe, a skinny white man whose name I don't remember, he wanted to borrow my mop. He says, I'll bring it back. Ay, mijo, hell no. Hell no, como que? You never ever lend a mop to anyone. How dare you, cabroncito? A mop is sacred. Don't you know that, cabron? A mop is sacred. My mop stories are full of my mother's helpers. Their names resonate in my mind and I remember them all. Gata, Nympha, Belsora, Isa, Lina, any number of Marias. They knew mops. I once got a job cleaning houses. It lasted 1 week. One pasada of a young teacher friend of my mother's house. Ooh, no, I couldn't take it. I have great respect for those who clean and mop. Mopping takes stamina, courage, a commitment to mop or not to mop. That is the question. My steam mop is dead, out of commission, outdated, a dinosaur of the mopping kind, no soap available anywhere. I called the company, no supervisor on hand to listen to complaints. That poor woman in India listening to another call from someone complaining about a mop halfway across the world. Ay, Dios mío, just how hard is it to find a mop in my hometown? Lord, I can understand at Christmas that there would be a run on lard for bizcochos. Yes, corn husks for those tamales, green chile at the end of the season, but a mop. A mop. I am mopless now. Memories of mops swirling round in my head. Mops, mops, trapeadores. Memories of all the women in my life. Mopping, working, bending to get into those corners. Agachadas, porque era necesario. It was necessary to get into those corners, to get the job done. Not only done, but well done. Ay, caray, mi gente. What do mops by the door say about our people? Thank you. My other poem, it's short, folks. It's going to be a long evening. Just get out the tequila, una cervecita. This poem was inspired by working with homeless people and delivering books to them every 2 weeks or whenever. The father of one of the homeless residents of these apartments came over and whispered in my ear, "My son is here. I have a great job. I've done very well with my work, but my son is here." He was homeless. He didn't have the courage to tell me his son's name. He just bragged about himself. And so that's a statement in this poem. And there was also a young man that was lost, kept wandering into the room with the books, looking for something, as if he could look for that one book that would save his life. And I like to think that maybe that book is in that bookshelf, whether it's the Tibetan Book of the Dead. As soon as I was there the other day, somebody snagged that book. Is it the Four Agreements? What is that book that's going to save you? So this is dedicated to the residents of Desert Hope here in Las Cruces. Put away your hair shirt. Take off your crown of thorns. You don't have to be the savior of the world. All you have to do is show up, be present. This is how we process the world's suffering, sitting, observing how alike we are. Oh, beautiful girls, stop showing me your breasts on Facebook. We see them. Let your passion rest. Someday too, you will get old. My mother once told me this. I remember her words. Fathers, stop talking about your fame, your conquests, your success, the places in the world you've traveled and what you've done. Now whispering so I can only hear you here. You tell me about your child. How he now living in this homeless shelter. You never mention his name. Listen to yourself. You've taught him certain things, but not to love. Writer, stop writing and telling me how great your book is, how much it means to the world, to someone, to anyone. We know, take up the pen again. Tell us the story of how the world goes on and on and on. Tell me the story of that young man, that one young man that kept coming back and back again into that room because he had to. He was looking for something, a book, that one book. He was looking for it. What was it? What was it, that book? Stop now. Just stop. Stop now. Process the suffering. We are in this confessional. Let us tell each other our sins. Gracias. I am so honored to be here. Edward, mil gracias. A todos, gracias, love you, love the valley. It's magical, full of spirits. Les bendigo, and I invite you to come to Las Cruces and help me deliver books to refugees. I'll put my email in this feed here. Thank you, Edward.
Gracias, Denise. That was a beautiful reading. Thank you. Thank you so much. Everyone here loved it, right? Let's give it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And up next, we have Shanat Caraza.
Hola, buenas noches. My name is Shanat Caraza, and I'm going to be sharing poems from my book, my most recent book, which is La Mariposa de Jacqueline, Jacqueline's Butterfly, published by Flower and Son Press. And Jacqueline's Butterfly honors and commemorates the life of Jacqueline Cal, the 7-year-old Guatemalan girl who died while in custody of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection on December 8, 2008. 1. Revolotea la mariposa del cuaderno de Jacqueline Cal, dorado y azul en sus alas de seda. La inquietud llena los espacios en blancos. ¿Qué es la felicidad? Estar con los seres que amas, selvática seguridad, lejos del inclemente frío que congela la esperanza que Pandora olvidó en el fondo de un frasco de miel. Camina la felicidad sin preocupación alguna, sin límites de tiempo y espacio. Una araña distrae su inocente andar y la música en el aire suena como en la lejana niñez. The butterfly in Jacqueline Cal's notebook flutters about, blue and gold on its silk wings. Restlessness fills the blank spaces. What is happiness? Being with the ones you love, the security of the rainforest, far from the merciless cold that freezes the hope which Pandora abandoned at the bottom of a honeypot. Happiness walks without a single worry, without limits of time or space. A spider distracts it along its innocent walk, and the music in the air resounds as it did in a distant childhood. 4. ¿Qué es la felicidad? Caminar en las calles angostas que llevan al parque de la niñez entre la niebla. Recordar una sonrisa inquieta que anhela llegar. Niña, sueño en la niebla, mar en la tormenta, corre sin preocupación. Los rayos de sol se agitan en las ramas, santuario fugaz. What is happiness? Walking amidst the fog along narrow streets that lead to the playground, recalling a restless smile longing to arrive. Little girl, a dream in the fog, the sea in a storm, wrong without fear, rays of sunlight rustling the branches, fleeting sanctuary. 5. Las lágrimas brotan por todo lo perdido, lo no alcanzado, lo no merecido, lo que fue arrebatado, andar cauteloso. Una niña se desprende del vientre y camina sin dolor. Tears emerge for all that is lost, all not achieved, all not deserved, all that was snatched away. Cautions movement. A little girl frees herself from the womb and walks without pain. (23) Canta, canta, indígena voz, e intégrate a este mundo de animales metálicos. En las torres se forjan los sonidos de hierro. Allá, en lo más alto, se rompen los cristales. Las palomas y sensontles vuelan al unísono entre los rascacielos grises. El smog compite contigo, culebra nacarada. No hay esperanza, solo temores en el pecho. Sing, sing, indigenous voice, and assimilate into this world of metallic animals. In the towers, the sounds of iron are forged. There, at the highest point, windows are shattered. Doves and sensontles fly as one between gray skyscrapers. The smoke competes with you, knacker snake. There is no hope, only fear in our chest. 43. Densa bruma cubre las montañas lejanas. Exhalamos recuerdos para dispersarla hasta que el eco nos recuerda que se acerca el fragor de las olas. Intenso repiqueteo lleva la mañana saturada de nácar. El aliento marino se derrama en este bosque donde nuestros muertos deambulan. La densidad nos engaña, crea imágenes de felicidad pura y nos damos cuenta que son solo espejismos. La música se transforma en gritos de rabia hasta disipar la niebla. A dense haze envelops these distant mountains. We exhale memories to disperse it until the echo reminds us that the clamor of the waves draws near. The morning saturated in nacre carries an intense rhythm. The marine breath spills in this forest where our dead wander. Density deceives us. It creates images of pure happiness, and we realize they are only a mirage. The music transforms into screams of rage until it disperses the fog. 44. La niñez perdida y la angustia corren entre los árboles para escapar por las vías que conducen a otra realidad. Perseguidas por los perros sueltos en este bosque de niebla, el sol se filtra para evaporar las pesadillas. Tu cuerpecito en un ataúd. Pequeña niña, con tan solo 7 años cruzaste fronteras, niña maya. Tus ojos cerrados llevan las flores sagradas. Tus manitas ya no piden maíz. Nadie escuchó tu llanto. Nadie sació tu sed. The lost childhood and anguish run amidst the trees to escape along the path that lead to another reality. Pursued by dogs let loose in this forest of fog, the sun filters through to evaporate the nightmares. You're a small body in a coffin, little girl. You cross borders, Mayan girl, at only 11 years of age. Your closed eyes carry the sacred flowers. Your tiny hands no longer ask for maize. No one heard your cries. No one satisfied your thirst. 45. Soñaste con campos abiertos y el calor de un hogar en las montañas de niebla. Brazos tejidos te esperan para envolverte de felicidad. Vas llena de poesía, niña maya. Tu huipil bordado de mariposas azules. Tus manitas quietas cargadas de dorados recuerdos. Tus ojitos cerrados todavía tienen frío. Flor y canto eres, niña hermosa. En estas páginas, una mariposa con alas de seda no deja de revolotear. You dreamed of open fields and the warmth of a home in the mountain of fog. Woven arms await to envelop you in happiness. You depart full of poetry, Mayan girl. Your huipil embroidered with blue butterflies. Your motionless hands loaded with golden memories. Your closed eyes still cold. You are flower and song, beautiful girl. In these pages, a butterfly with zinc wheels continues to flutter about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janat. That's a beautiful collection, and when I read through it, and especially those poems that you read, uh, it was just so fresh. It had just happened, and a lot of children, they go through that fate, and thank you for writing about it, for giving Jacqueline voice, and I'm so honored that your book is published with Flower Song Press, and that your poems are in this anthology. So for those of you that haven't seen it, this is the anthology Boundless 2022. It's the anthology of the Rio Grande Valley and Poetry Festival. But thank you again. We're going to switch over again to the live stage here at the McAllen Incubator. And everyone here's been listening, and we have a big group of poets in-house as well who are just are new to the Poetry Festival. So hopefully we'll see more poetry by those that are present for the next collection. And thank you all for hanging in there and sticking around. We know it can get long with all the readers, but for everyone that's here and that are in the webinar and listening, I hope you're feeling the poetry, and I hope you're catching the words that are being said. And thank you again, and hopefully you're inspired. So we're going to stage and pass it over to the wonderful program.
Hey everyone. So first of all, thank you for everyone for being here, everyone who's coming in. I do encourage y'all to like squeeze in the middle, give some love to the front, like just to kind of fill up the space and make it more intimate. So if y'all want to be brave, be bold, move to the center. So now we're gonna have a good number of readers. We got a sign-up sheet. I just got word there is pizza available for everybody. So let's just take a little mini break. If y'all want to grab some pizza over there, go ahead. We have more sangria for 21 and older only, and then water, a few snacks. So let's just take a small, like 3-minute break so we can continue. We found a pair of headphones. Anybody missing some headphones? Yeah. Headphones have been claimed. Cool. So I'll come back up. Everybody who is in the chat, is it a chat? Zoom? I don't know what it is. But hi, and thank you for being here. We're just taking a small break. So if y'all want to grab a drink at your own homes, like please go ahead and do that right now.
All right. So again, thank you all for being a part of it. We do have some Boundless readers that are here in person. So we'll be listening to them. P.W. Covington is here from New Mexico. Tom Murphy is here from Corpus Christi. Rolando Serna is here from, where are you at, Rolando? Where are you coming from? Harlingen? Where do you live? Where do you live? He lives in La Villa, Texas.
Enjoying life in McAllen. Hola, gente. Mucho gusto.
All right, so hopefully the break. Huh?
We're doing meditation to like wiggle your toes. I can't.
Victoria, what do you have next? Oh,
Next we have Bella. What's here?
you want to call someone else?
Speak what sound like
Some of you, if we can go on mute, we can kind of hear everything.
All right, welcome back, folks. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get back up started. If y'all want to gather over here, eat your pizza in the center. It smells really good. Cool. I am going to welcome to the stage Tom Murphy, if he's here. Tom.
Tom Murphy.
Oh, hey.
Tom Murphy is also
Part of the, yes. Tom Murphy is in the anthology, y'all. Buy the book. They're all over there. $20 each. So yeah, give it up for Tom Murphy, y'all.
I just want to say this is a really great anthology. And there's some incredible people, and I'm proud to be in this. Thank you very much, Edward. And thank you to McAllen and all the poets here we've been hearing already in person and online. I guess so. Is that better?
Way better.
I do have a good voice though, because I've been teaching for 26 years and I'm retiring at the end of next month. This film is called The Sacredness of Life. Greed, money, and guns. They took what they could carry. Bellies painfully empty already. Someplace had to be better. Estados Unidos, El Norte, Hermano y Hermana. What was another river to cross? Begging all 1,400 miles of walk, chased by ice. No money, no food, no water. Ripped and battered. Estados Unidos, no bueno. Hunkered under a mesquite alone. No God, no burning bush, no talking snake. Solo quiero una oportunidad fathomless that in Estados Unidos is greed, money, guns, and lies. Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Up next is I'm sure too. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my work with you all. These poems, I just wrote them recently, so some of them don't have a title yet, but I'll share a few of them with you. Beautiful, gorgeous, irresistible, mujer. Es grandiosa, chingona y preciosa. Mi reina, mi vida, hermosa, una diosa. Es latina, chicana, tejana, pero bien mexicoamericana. Sí, así soy. This next one is titled Texas Spring. Sun shines, bees buzz, flowers bloom, then there's dust. Deeply red,
Sweet and soft, the roses grow, then they talk. Tiny petals, wind blows, a flower breaks, and another dandelion grows. A purplish color tints petals, deep enough to turn them blue. Cheers to the flower that symbolizes Texas. The mighty blue bonnet is the flower of Texas. This next one is called Tus Ojos. Mis ojitos brillan el momento que topan los tuyos. Café como mi latte, pero la mirada suave como mi oso. Cafecito mío, eres la estrella más brillante del cielo. Me encantas, me sorprendes, finalmente me enamoras. Cafecito delicioso, qué dulce eres. Me dejas con ganas de tenerte para siempre. Lying flat on the ground, legs still, not found. Blood gushes through the wound as the sirens wail towards home. Step by step, the pacing continues. A flock of humans fills the block. Out of breath, I gasp for help. In a blink of the sky goes black. I try to yell, but it's not that. My eyes are shut as my heart stops. Complete silence meets the light as a soul leaves the body in the middle of the night. Goodbye, temporary home. Thank you.
Motherfucking year. Give yourselves a hand. Don't worry, I don't need it.
Oh, you don't need that?
Don't need it, don't want it. I learned this from 15 years in a row for poetry on the board. That's amazing. These things usually peter out after about 5. Love to see young people out here. Love to hear the poetry from the younger people, because that's how community like this survives. As old heads sit around, talk about how many years we've been coming down here, how many people we've read for from this stage, how many workshops we've done in those classrooms back there. And none of it means shit unless we can get new people bringing new ideas, bringing new voices, new concepts, keep moving things forward. Thank you. Thank you. I want to share a piece tonight. Did anybody write any poetry during the COVID thing? There was this thing where we had to stay at home. Anybody write? I wrote a little bit once I felt I could. We've been doing this for 2 years. For over 2 years, we've learned to mute ourselves. This is a poem called Turquoise Hope, and submitted to a few places. You know how they say no simultaneous submissions? That's what they say. The city of Albuquerque, where I live, it's great to see so many New Mexico poets in the anthology this year, and a feature poet. And I keep a mop right outside my door. I don't know. I don't like smelling dog pee. That's why I keep mine out. But from all over the world as well. Anyway, the city of Albuquerque, where I live, was having a poetry thing. And this was a poem they selected, but they said, hey, we want to do some work to it. We want to work with you. Can you help edit this? And normally I don't give a shit, because I write a poem, I'm writing the poem. If an editor wants to edit it, if a publisher wants to tweak it, whatever, that's between the poem and them. It ain't me anymore. I wrote it. But as it would happen, I got a email like the very next day from another journal that was publishing it. So it kind of saved face on me. I was able to tell the city. Unfortunately, it's already been accepted. It's called Turquoise Hope. We lay in my adobe refuge smoking, the world dies outside. Summer often ends abruptly in the mountains we keep to ourselves in such seasons. When this ends, I want to take a vacation, she says. Somewhere far away and foreign, someplace I can hide, invisible and muted, dead and unaware. Death to the chittering native word sound voices above all of your vices, she says. I fill that room with smoke. Sativa curls caress the pine Vegas, reminding me of bingo halls and sawdust floors and steel guitars and red dirt roads, iron oxidized like blood vessels twisted around property lines, mesquite posts and barbed wire, defensive. Basalt over sandstone. Copper tears dry into turquoise on nights like this, and the parking situation has not improved. I nod and I hold her close until she's snoring, every dream-filled breath of solitude and slumber. All I want to do is rejoin the galactic and fantastic human shit and shine show, the come and go show, casino sunglasses, Saturday night show, gospel mirrors and Cotton Eye Joe show, the mask and pony serotonin and endorphin show, French kiss like a 220 socket. I want to jump back in and swim in it, all of it. 1990s leftover sex and patent leather, baptize me in your lack of better judgment. I've been made of stone too long. It's all about the breath this year, aspiration and ventilation, inspiration, greed, negotiations, basalt over sandstone, subtle turquoise hope. Thank you very much. My name is P.W. Charlington.
Hi all, so welcome to the stage, Marcy.
Hi. Oh, I'm taller today. Okay. Yeah. Victoria.
You're the expert. Higher, lower?
A little bit higher.
My hands are sweaty. Oh, hold on.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks. Well, okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for coming. First off, to Heartspoken. Heartspoken is amazing. I mean, it was created by Pabst Victoria Avi, and they have done an outstanding job. So round of applause for them. And round of applause for you guys, because you guys showed up and showed up. So thank you. Okay. This sounds super. I can only be yours if I try to be better. Show me how these waves goes because our frequencies are always changing. I'm getting better at knowing who I am, I think. Who I want, I think. I'm getting better to know my life, I think. I just know that within my mind, I'm growing a beautiful garden. And I hope that within yours, you're growing one too. We're picking out the weeds, and you know that I'm okay, and I know you're okay. So I walk away. Well, go figure. And I love myself. Inadequately, but I love myself. Thank you.
Tell me, higher or lower?
It should be fine here, I guess.
You good? There you go.
That should do. Well, I'm gonna actually do an old poem. I wrote this in 2006. I was just fresh out of prison and in college, and I really hated the system. So I actually read it 10 years later at the library, and this man here named Edward submitted for publishing. And we ended up winning the 2016 for the top 10 poets for La Bloga for the US for this one. So, and it's kind of catchy. It's called The Wetback Only Wants to Be Dry. So here we go. And it's by me, of course. The wet, do we see what to begin with? The wetback only wants to be dry. Their minds that are drowning with the news of the felony they have committed. What felony? Well, the illegal crossing of the Rio Grande River. More grave than the Italian, German, Japanese, Chinese, and the Arabs that have crossed an entire ocean. When will the day come that they will finally dry? Is it possible that the documents that my government gives them was made from terry cloth so they can use it to dry themselves? The magic day of 5 years so they can finally begin to dry. Only 4 years is not enough time because the river water is permanently attached to their backs for 5 years and nothing can dry it. The government has trained dogs at the Patrullas checkpoint to alert the immigration officers when there is an illegal hiding. The dogs can tell the difference, a Mexican American and an illegal Mexican. Can that be possible? That an American military uniform can be made out of magic cloth that can dry the wetback? This magic cloth will only dry their backs after they return. But return from where? Today, they do not send you back to Mexico. If you wear that uniform, they will send you to another country. The wetback will dry their bodies and wet their minds with the blood memories of assassinations. If they sign the dotted line, they won't send you back home where it is safe. I do not remember if it is proper for a wetback to use the uniform of my country that convicts them of being wetbacks. They rounded them up and gave them work that pays 12 cents an hour, 88 cents per day, 19.20 per month, minus 50% the cost of incarceration, minus the cost of the bar of soap, their shoes, their exercise clothes, and toothpaste. Cologne and food to survive during the lockdown. The prison reminds me of old Southern plantations where white men would dictate what blacks would do. What do they call those? I mean, in those days,
were the slaves, because they worked all day, and when night fell, they had not earned a single coin to send their families. This government has not mentioned that no wetback can earn more than 12 cents an hour, 68 cents a day, 19.20 a month. If they can put all this wetbacks into prison, it will be possible to pay 48 wetbacks to work for a whole day for what it would cost you to pay one single person at $5.75 an hour. How can our government require all employees to pay their employees a minimum wage? They should lead by example and start paying their new slaves the legal minimum wage. The wetbacks have been made into government slaves. When will they explain to the American citizens who are the owners of these companies? Why don't they have to follow the law of our country? They should pay and be fined $5,000 for hiring the wetbacks and not paying them a fair legal wage for their work. How is it possible that wetbacks are now responsible for terrorism when a terrorist entered to Canada? Mind you, this was in 2006, Twin Towers thing. They also entered through airports in New York, and some, well, we don't even know where they came through or where they entered, but they blame the wetbacks because my people came to work. When was the day that we started to look like terrorists? And when was the day that we were implicated in the death of our own friends in those two towers? When did they prepare to convert my people into slaves for Unicor, the great corporation in all the federal prisons who demand that all prisoners work or get acquainted with solitary confinement? When did the day come that being a wetback was converted into being a slave? Is it not possible for me not to be heard? It is not possible not to take the truth into account. A fairy tale, maybe. But then again, all this info is online under BOP.com. You can read it there for free. There we go.
Yes. I would just like to make a comment. I wrote this being inspired from a book I've been recently trying to study. It's called How to Find God, Living Water for those who thirst. Recently, I've been trying to get closer to God, and this is about that. For he is our creator of all. Without him, all surrounds us would never be. The divine will written before you may not be proclaimed unto thee without faith in him. May he purify our hearts with perseverance and peace. Shall our hearts never stray into temptation? Therefore, God is asking to work through you to bring light into those who are in despair. Light that reflects in you and me. Care for one another, but remind them of the glistening light that peaks in them. Before speaking, you can see his work in those who walk in faith. For their fruits multiply by planting a seed, a semilla in the center of our bodies. Thank you. Amen. We have Priscilla. Going 1.5. Edwin. Yay, give it up for Edwin.
I usually don't do poetry, but I decided to come and see what's up, you know? So here I am. I just wrote a little something sweet and I liked it, so here goes. We howled at the moon, didn't care about the future soon. Moment like this, real animals do. My mom said wild animals get tatted. Lost dog has mouth on a leash that I crafted. On me has chaos been passive. Limited times, killing my fragments.
Everyone.
Passion of missing the absence. For numerous tears for but still think but life and she was like playing.
We're gonna have some musical guests come up. Thank you everyone for being there online and in person.
Hey, it takes some practice, right? Like noise here or but when you have noise here, this is the first time. I was telling Leanne, I just met her today. She's from New Mexico, and she's here with me because he's been coming here for 10 years now. And he's a published poet and books, and he goes all over the place, and they take care of him wherever he goes. And we're like that. Like comfortable with this, right? Because we're trying virtual, we're mixing it. And he just said something real sweet. He said, this is the best I felt in 2 days, not 2 years, for sure not full of life, but in the last 2 days, he's been road tripping, he's been down from New Mexico, so. Like that, and Saturday, or when is it Saturday? No, Friday, because kids are in school, but Saturdays they do workshops, they're doing a workshop this weekend as well. PW is doing a workshop, who else is doing a workshop?
If you go to valleypoetryfest.org, you'll see all the workshops that are going on over the weekend.
And it's really cool because they're like professors and stuff doing classes in different parts of the country or in different countries because it's international and it's just cool to learn new styles from these greats, so hope to see some faces Saturday morning. We'll have something good, some pastry or something.
So look up Valley International Poetry Festival online, y'all. Get all the details, please. It's gonna be a really great weekend. But I'm gonna read 3 poems for y'all. That tripped me out. I just want to ask a question. Has anybody here ever felt like you've lost a friend, like a friendship breakup? Has anybody gone through that? Show of hands. Okay. So this is about one of my very own, very recent friendship breakups. I call it saying goodbye, letting go. I lost a friendship this year. Our paths wavered, breaking away from each other. She went her way and I went on my own, both filling our hearts in bitterness. My heart felt stabbed by her bitter words. I'm pretty sure that hers felt stabbed by my own. It was hard to accept that she and I were no longer companions.
Looking to the skies to talk about the stars and our dreams, wondering where life will take us in 5 years, uplifting each other the whole way through. It's been difficult, accepting the loss of a friendship of a person who once accepted me and I her, flaws and all. Sharing secrets, shuffling our cards, reading our futures, learning about the world through each other's brown eyes. It's hard to realize that I won't ever say I love you. Hug her tight to say goodbye one last time. But if life has taught me anything, it's the beauty of letting go. So she and I may bloom once more to let go, and I wish her well, to let go and hold no resentment anymore. Only look back now and again when the shuffle of cards and coffee shops remind me of the friendship I once had. And this is just a poem that I've written about. I've been through a lot of trauma by men, specifically like just narcissistic men who make me feel like I'm great, and then all of a sudden I'm not. So this is about that. It used to be perfect. All the flowers dancing in my head. I never had to wonder if the streets may leave me dead. It used to be perfect, the way that conversation flowed as the tree looked over us, as the night turned the sun to gold. It used to be perfect when the way I was treated was less like a doll and more like a goddess. Illusions have been playing inside my mind, movies to pass this time, a trick to my big brown eyes, big enough to see the world but with a hyper-focused mind. The world was made of details rather than the sum that uncovered the real. The truth was meant to be revealed in due time. An owl calls, whispers wise words to me. Don't be so blind. Fly away and see the mountains. Fly away and see the oceans. Fly away and don't stop. Don't settle to rest and build a nest. Find the nest already there, the one waiting for you. It used to be perfect. The way our bodies felt so close, strangers' warmth, sharing conversation, vulnerability, dreams and secrets as the tree looked over us. An owl calls, fly away. It used to be perfect, how a stranger's kindness could build into friendship and transform. It used to be perfect. Wings push me further and higher, the truth, unshaken, the truth, breathing, and my big brown eyes watched as the night turned the sun to gold. And then I have one last one. I recently wrote this because I've been having a lot of like depression spells because of the state of the climate crisis happening. It's like taking a toll on me, and it's taking a toll on like our earth. So I just wanted to pay tribute to this man. Pretty sure you've heard of him. He burned himself alive recently. A man set himself on fire to let the world know our world is on the brink of irreversible climate disaster. A man set himself on fire as the earth shook, the wind roared, and the skies wept. A man set himself on fire, and I can't help but wonder if it's too late. A man set himself on fire. Is this too our fate? Rest in peace, Win Bruce. Thank you. I've never done this before, so it's kind of scary. So my heart's been racing now. Alright, so this one's called Plague of Passion. I wrote it like August of last year, so my mind is stuck wandering around things that will never happen, enclosed in doubt and self-expression that leads to nowhere. I'm stuck hiding in a plague of passion. And even as I'm drowning, I'm aware of the breath that I can't breathe, your hands that I can't touch, and your eyes that I can't see. Desperately trying to hold myself back from loving a heart that has no desire to be loved by me. And this one's called The Silence That Follows. I wrote this one, like, I recently had a breakup in January, so this one. I could talk about who you were to me, and I could touch on topics we both hate to hear. But if the silence is long enough, none of what I say will matter to you. Because the only thing that will stay in your mind after you choose to walk away is the silence that follows.
Next one, your turn. Okay. Yeah, Laura, yeah. You need a chair? Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. You can hear me? All right. I was thinking of doing an original song, but I went to a John Lennon song that I really love. And it's kind of expressing how I've been feeling lately, you know, working in an office all day long. You know, you don't get to go outside and see the trees that often. Someone said a poem earlier about looking out a window, and sometimes I'm there just looking out the window wishing I was outside. So this is called Oh Love, Oh My Love by John Lennon. This is a harmonium. Oh my love, for the first time in my life, my eyes are wide open. Oh my love, for the first time in my life, my eyes can see. I see the wind, oh, I see the trees. Everything is clear in my world. I see the clouds, oh, I see the sky. Everything is clear in my world. Oh, my love, for the first time in my life, my mind is wide open. Oh, my love, for the first time in my life, my mind can feel. I feel my dreams, oh, I feel so. Everything is clear in our world. I feel life, oh, I feel love. Everything is clear in our world. Thank you, Ben. Up next, we have Arnold.
Well, we've made it to our list, so if there's anybody else who would like to read or sing or dance or share an opinion, now is the final countdown.
Arnold, everybody.
I didn't even know. I got called. Because people always ask me kind of guitar. It's a national. It's made for playing slide guitar. But yeah. How are you gonna sit on the chair? Or yeah, I just realized my feet. So I can't with my strap. I can get on the chair. Do you want to sit? I can sit on. Okay. All right. That's good for me. What we got? I think I can start sounding good. I'll just down. No? I'll just sit down. That's right here. It's very loud. All right. And it's very quiet. Hello, everybody. So I don't have any phones. Usually my writing poetry. The song got inspired by my godfather. Passed away during COVID. During 2020, he died from Alzheimer's actually, dementia. He gave me an idea for a song about you're poor, you pretty much die. The perspective of a daughter losing her dad. I wrote this song by the way. She's crying loud, saying it's not fair. Locked behind the bathroom door. a man gonna die from this? I've done my work, I gave it my best, can't give you no more. So Captain, what you gonna do with all my money? I looked into her weary eyes, I gave my daughter a kiss. I guess it's no surprise, couldn't live if I was rich. If I only was treated right, as my voice disappears in the night. I never seen a sky as beautiful as in the bed I died. I hope you remember this day before you cry. Nothing can bring back before she begins. I know you know this tale. You ain't gonna act until you put on the spot as well. And when that time comes for you, I hope you remember to. But once that bell rings, everything gets taken away. If I only was treated right, as my voice disappears in the night. I've never seen a sky as beautiful as in the bed at night. I hope you remember this day for you. Song I got inspired by band, one of my favorite bands. That's the name of the band. They're Bob Dylan. I had a dream about a guy named Richard Manuel, piano player. Um, Told me something in my dream, like a little phrase. Why walk when you can dance on home? So I turned it into a song about ex-lovers. Why walk when you can dance on home? I wish I would have known that when you call me by my name, the last time I loved you. I'm tired of the lonely night, looking for an answer that you make me right. You brought me comfort, forgot about my life.
I walk when you can dance on home. I wish I would have known that when you called me by my name, the last time I loved you. But true love is now past a stranger. Long years that have gone by, I guess it wasn't what we thought it'd be. Go ahead and dance to your own I walk when you can't dance on. I wish that when you call me by my name, the last time oh, the song is Daddy used to show my face, Mama's gonna comb my hair, Sister's gonna kiss my red lips. I don't know man, I don't need no man, I don't need no man. Sister's gonna kiss my red lips. I don't That's the pain I ever did was the hungry cold song. And all that pain was when I loved. All that pain is gone. All that pain is gone. All that pain is gone. What I ever did.
I was running, yeah. Yeah, that's my pin name. Yeah, I was running for the, I'm always bringing pizza apparently. Yeah, I was running for pizza for my club, in high school, the high school club that I have running over there. And I caught her, so got lucky in that. Otherwise, I will have missed her. Yeah, so the one I'm going to read is on page 34 if y'all are interested in following along. It's called The Nightmare. All right. The bull dug his horns deep against the night, spinning dead leaves into a maroon-covered moon. His grunts shook the earth. His kicks threw back dust in circles as he disappeared and reappeared into the revolving air that twisted lights and shadows like dying embers, and a glow grew along his hooves. His hooves pounded coal, raised the flame to a fire. He lowered his head and his stout ivory horns traced in red. He flared his nostrils and caught my glance. Then he bullied the ground with his right leg, maddening. I turned around to look for a place to run, but a fence encircled us. He grunted, and twisted, and kicked and charged. I rolled back. I rolled on my back, held my knees to my chest. Clash, clash, clash against my bedroom wall. I awoke to a nightmare image of my mom on a red floor, and my father standing over like thunder. All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Manuel. I drove down here from Dallas. I'm representing Wordspace out of our area. It's a literary nonprofit. We recently received a grant, and I'd like to find 2 to 4 poets that might be interested in traveling to Dallas and late August, early September. Anyways, I'm not a poet myself. I'm retired. I have a disability. I cough a lot. I have a lung issue, but here goes. Bear with me. I've titled this one, Love is Just a Word Until Someone Gives It Meaning. And as we age, we kind of find that I've read Kant and another philosopher who said that to love means to love unconditionally. Even though someone else doesn't love you, you can still love them. I've always been ambivalent about love and romance, but you stir my emotions when I'm around you. I lose my ability to organize my thoughts. You have a beautiful physical beauty, but your inner beauty is what attracts me most. I am crushing on your kindness and compassion. I whisper your name when no one is near, so low that only you can hear. You will always know we are one in heart. At the end of the day, you will never say you wish you'd spent more time at the office. Thank you.
That, y'all still awake? All right, cool. Thank you for hanging in there. Again, I guess we dwindled down to one page. So I'll go from my right down and across. Anthony, you awake? Anthony Rip.
Thank you, everyone. Everybody's been fantastic. Thank you guys for doing it. I'm gonna burn through two quick poems. Not gonna do very much talking because it's gone long and I've been drinking. So, but that's the best, that's the best way to do fucking poetry, man. This one is, the short one is called Dying in Linares. The next one will be more fun, I promise. The winter moon disguises bourgeois for bohemia while I am sitting on my Spanish villa's balcony. The air is thinner here, and the distant colors look more alive now that they are old, draped across this dying town. The cuffs of my shirt are wet with champagne and stained with ink. I am drunk again and writing poetry. This cliche is old hat, old tattoo, old bolero. Everything old died in June in the year of the virus. And I died too, a little. Death tastes like soil in my mouth. Nervous fingernails caked with mud from burying the colorless veins of my ancestors taste like dirt on my tongue. They taste like Linares, Nuevo León, Mexico, where I am sitting on a balcony crying while the town is either half asleep or dying. I can't tell. Mexico, you butchered piece of existence. You are an old man, sick and frail, and I have come from miles away to die with you. Next poem is a beat poem. It's called Looking for God. I get drunk and chase him around, and once I saw him buying those pantyhose and the egg at the supermarket. Remember those, the little egg? So I saw God there, and I continue the search. I hit the road in my old slant six with glass packs from the cats to the back, looking for God in wide open spaces, hoping he'd spill out the fuzzy speaker of an AM radio, long-haired and sandaled, wearing white socks to keep us guessing. And if he had a beard, man, I hope he'd call it his flavor saver so I can laugh and tell my friends, yes, an inside joke with a mustachioed and bearded Jehovah. Chalk one up for the Gipper, man. I'd ask him, what's your favorite song? And he'd say, Nobody's Fool. I'd say live version or tape, and he'd say live. Yeah, me too. If this keeps up, they'll say we're in love. We should just start finishing each other's sentences and be done with it. I tell him, the last time I saw you, you just stood there and stared at me. It was uncomfortable. I felt as if I had let you down, wondered if you were thinking, is that what I look like? Disappointed that I was made in your image, so I must be what you look like. And why do you look like a rusty locomotive? Is that what I look like too? Can I ride you? Can I take a mop bucket and brush away the spray paint so people can say we clean up nice? And why are you wearing white pants after Labor Day? Why am I wearing white pants after Labor Day? This is madness. It's like running amok for a mucking factory. I don't like white. I can't hide my feelings there, and that makes me sad. Why am I so sad? Why don't you give me some snake oil to make me feel better, or a wildflower photography trip with a girl I hardly know? And why are you on AM radio? Why are you so brown? Why do you speak Spanish? I thought you were a white dude because that's what it says on the crucifix I got at Costco. Man, I must be a sucker for a gimmick. What do turtles dream of on the high seas? What would I dream of on the moon? Why do I have a black light poster of you on my wall next to Michael Jackson's Thriller and Slayer's South of Heaven? Is there a hell? Can I sell my soul there? Would you try and stop me? Or would you just stand there like you did the last time, making me feel weird? God, if you're out there hitchhiking, dragging your staff over a long stretch of rumble strips to make it sound like a plane carting your spokes, yeah, man, I'll pick you up. But I'm telling you now, I'm gonna ask you all that shit. Thank you very much for doing it, guys. I love you all, man. Thank you so much for allowing me to express myself. Thank you.
Anthony, tell us where you're from.
By way of Harlingen, Texas, man, and it's the first time I get involved with this process, and I think it's fantastic, man. I kick myself for waiting so long to do it, you know. But thank you guys again, man, for doing what you're doing and keeping the faith, man. We definitely need you guys out here.
Thank you, thank you. And if you can, come over this weekend. We'll have stuff going on. Up next, we have Eduardo Villarreal de los Reyes. Eduardo, bienvenido. Dinos de dónde vienes. You're on mute.
Ok, ¿se oye bien?
Sí.
Ok. Soy de Matamoros, Tamaulipas. Y pero ahora desde hace como 20 años soy vecino de Brownsville. Y escribo poesía y escribo cuentos. Y desde hace 6 años tengo un proyecto cultural que se llama Poesía en Atril. Y pues ahí se invitan a escritores del sur de Texas y del noreste de México. Y les quiero leer un poema que se llama Aquí. Salieron al viento, dejando la casa paterna, el huerto, el postigo, la voz antigua de la abuela que cada domingo recordaba capítulos de su vida. Se fueron a aprender otra canción, otro lenguaje, tener otra ilusión, un muro, un desierto, un río, laberinto y dragón en un juego de vida, muerte y olvido. Me prometiste la corona de la felicidad, la multiplicación de los panes y los pescados, pero no me hablaste de las llagas de las manos ni de las espinas en la frente. No hubo Moisés para separar las aguas del río, ni viento de oriente para secarlo, solamente el desierto de la tentación y la queja. No hubo necesidad de las 9 plagas. Fue suficiente el vaho de la bestia del desierto. Tampoco hubo lluvia de panes ni levadura, pero de la nada surgió el milagro. Número 3. Aquí el césped no crece, o solo y mágicamente se corta de un día a otro. Aquí las casas se van construyendo solas, cada clavo con su madera y de ladrillo a ladrillo de igual manera. Aquí las casas se limpian solas por voluntad propia o nunca se ensucian, al igual que la ropa. Aquí la comida se cocina sola a diario, se multiplica el arroz, los tamales, el pan dulce y las tortillas. Aquí los automóviles se autolimpian y la fruta y la verdura, sin importar el sol olvidado, llegan al mercado por una suerte de milagro, sin rastros de sudor y manos. son los invisibles, los que solamente son vistos al cruzar el río, aprendices de muertos buscando un milagro. Aquí nadie muere ahogado en el río. Aquí no me refleja ningún espejo y no cuento para ningún censo. No vamos, no volvemos, no existimos. Somos bocas guardando un secreto. Aquí las manos no descansan, ni habrá tumba ni cementerio para los que viven de incógnitos. Van buscando algo que un día fue nuestro, buscando otro signo que nos diga que estamos de regreso a Aztlán. Gracias. Gracias, Eduardo. Gracias a todos. Gracias por la invitación. Un verdadero placer.
Gracias, gracias, Eduardo. And I'll be talking about the anthology throughout the weekend and stuff, but I want to give a big thank you to our editors, Gina Duran and Gabriel Gonzalez Nunez. I see that Gina's still here, so I want to pass it over to Gina if you want to talk a little bit about the process and then read your entry into the collection as well. And you're on mute.
Okay. Sure, thank you. I wanted to tell the story. I think my intro is kind of what I was saying about the book and the English section. It's just that I wanted to tell the story of life kind of through the way that people sent in their poems. I noticed like no matter what country we were from or what culture we have, or ethnicity or sexuality or gender, we're all telling all very similar stories, even when they were hard and gut-wrenching, and it was all very beautiful and tragic and also hopeful at the same time. So I wanted to be able to tell that story. It was kind of like everyone talked about the sun rising and the sun setting, and I just thought that was so amazing how we all have such different lives, but at the same time have so many commonalities. And I just thought that I really wanted to tell that story. So I kind of, if you watch to me, it's kind of like a gallery when you walk through a gallery, because I'm also an artist. So I kind of felt like I was walking through a gallery of stories of lives, and you can see the sun rising and setting and rising and setting throughout the entire book. So I just thought that was really lovely. And okay, so now I guess I'll tell my story. I just want to say also that I think I sent Edward the wrong version of my story. I had been working so hard on everyone else's that when I finally sent mine in, I did edit it, but I accidentally sent in the unedited version. So I found the word Basque instead of Basque. I was like, this is what I get for writing my poem over my phone. Okay, constructions. My father constructed skyscrapers and bridges and the metro. He is much larger than you. My father constructed the overpasses we drive under every day. My father constructed freeways we drive over every day. When I take the metro into LA, I don't just see grandiose cathedral tiled ceilings and long tunnels to destinations known and unknown. I see tunnels into memories that are known and unknown. As a child, we would pass through grand freeway bridges into San Diego or San Clemente or San Bernardino, and my father would stick his thick, calloused hand towards them and announce, I built that. It didn't matter how many times we passed it, he would say it every time. And every time we were supposed to pay attention and bask in the glory of his creation. He fell so many times and avoided many cars. He reached the heavens on top of scaffoldings and planks of wood. He built a launch pad to send rockets to touch the stars. Perhaps he was great. And when I walk into the vastness of his greatness, I feel my tiny hand wrapped around his thumb. I imagine him lifting me off my feet with his fingers as he counted my pull-ups. I imagine grasping the door panel with my fingertips to chimney climb the hallway like he taught me. I run my toes in the sand of the beach knowing I can swim because he taught me in our pool on Beach Street. He tossed me in like a toy, but not as far as he threw me across the living room before he fattened my lip and injured my spine. You need to do a better job of vacuuming. Your mom is in a bad mood. I apologize, hang on. And I don't want her to see this. I did vacuum. It just wasn't to his liking. Do it again. He slapped me in the face, knocking me to the floor. I crawled on my back to hide under the coffee table, but he grabbed me by the collar next to my throat, strangling my new sweater. I thought he was going to choke me. He slapped me again. I kicked and got him in the balls. Suddenly, his eyes grew robotic and his face did something still with fury. He lifted me and flung me like a small sack of limbs. I wasn't a human. I was a purple cotton knit sweater. I slid across the floor, just in front of the stairs. My fibers wrapped up with the carpets, with a gentle, sharp burn along my back. He lunged over my body and slapped my face repeatedly. I shrieked and went numb. When he was done, I was sad to see my brand new purple sweater was stretched around the neck and limp around the arms, already ruined that early Christmas morning. I just unwrapped it. I changed into my turquoise sweater, which brought out the blues in my bruised cheek before going to grandma's house. It was just a hop over the wall, past grandpa's car parts and his old office building. The chickens scattered about while the rooster crowed from the tree. I wanted to tell grandma what happened, but she didn't say anything. She grounded up the salt and herbs with molcajete, then rolled out the tortilla like she did every day. I sat on the stool at the counter and watched as she talked to me as if my wounds were invisible. I felt invisible. She mashed beans and brought out beef from the last butchered cows stored in the freezer. It might have been Muga, my favorite cow friend. I watched her stir and season. She looked into my face and asked what I got for Christmas. It made me angry. I was tired of being invisible and not talking about being whipped and tossed like trash. I was tired of people ignoring me. I was tired of everyone taking their shit out on me. I was 10 and it was Christmas. I don't know. What do you think? I got this sweater and a purple sweater that I really loved, but my dad stretched it out when he threw me and gave me these bruises and a fat lip. That's what I got for Christmas. But you look at me like nothing is there, like it's a dream or a nightmare, like it's not even real. Do you even see me? Your son did this to me. Do you even see me? Don't act like it's a lie. It's real. It's on my face. Why are you acting like everything is normal? Your son did this. Are you proud of him? She looked at me and said, I see it. I know it's real. I just thought I should mind my own business. So I didn't say anything. I waited for more, but she went back to cooking. So I got off the stool and went home. My mom saw me and looked at my face. Oh, your dad told me you were upset because he spanked you. He hit me in the face over and over again. He said he didn't hit you hard. Those are just busted capillaries from stress. Go to your room. That's when I knew nobody was ever going to get me out of there. I went upstairs to my room and let the bed absorb me and my tears. I was always going to be there. The walls grew closer and closer, and the devil crept in with the shadows as he peered in through the cracks of my dreams, claiming them as nightmares. I prayed and prayed that God would save me. I promised I would be good, but the nightmares would take over until I woke in the cold of my pea-soaked sheets, with my curtains torn off the window and over my head. I was running in my nightmares again, jumping off the rooftop in a desperate attempt to escape my father. My mom would spank me if I didn't wash everything, so I gathered everything in the middle of the night to wash up. Then I fell asleep on the hot pink carpeted floor. The summer my youngest child left for college, I told my father I didn't understand why my child hated their dad so much. I understood that he slapped our child in the face and that I knew it was abusive, but the level of rage that existed in them was confusing. But maybe my child was just ready to leave what I didn't know how to leave yet. I told him how I remembered him throwing me across the living room, but I didn't remember feeling that level of rage. He stopped me and lifted himself up from his chair with a deep, scowling brow. I never hit you. All I ever did was hold you and love you. That was the last conversation I ever had with him. Thank you.
I think someone's going to play something.
Y'all hear, like, it's people coming and going, but it feels great because it's like this beautiful energy. So he was outside. Oh, well, you know what? That's okay.
Yeah. Well, I want them to read because they've been on for hours. So we could, if you could read the poem from the anthology that you're in, let's keep it quick because I think they need to close here soon. And but you're all
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for waiting.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me good? Okay, this mic is horrible. It's like slipping off. Hello, hello, hi. So I'm basically going to improvise my emotions. So yeah, usually I've played a few tunes that have helped me express myself to myself because I only play to myself. So you guys are going to hear that now. Whatever you say, what can you say that you feel? And can you express yourself to the ones that you can love? You've tried so hard to tell the whole truth. Oh, you let go of the hesitation. You've tried so hard to hold yourself back. Oh. We've waited
someone so beautiful. The reason for will you continue to grow and influence the world? With you. Be the symbol forevermore. Yeah. Thank you. I think that
So up next, we have Edward K. Gonzalez. Tell us where you're from and read your poem.
Okay, hey, thank you very much, Edward. I sure do appreciate it. I just wanted to, I'm gonna read my piece and try to be as quick as possible. I was born in Los Angeles, raised in Lincoln Heights, California. Now moved to San Antonio, which is where I'm at now. Basically, my sons and we painted and draw and do a lot of artistic stuff. But I just recently, about 3 years ago, was introduced to sort of spoken word and poetry and prose by the Sun Poets here in San Antonio. Let's see. Other than that, that's about it. Let me read you my piece and we can get going. This piece actually I wrote I'm also a reverend. I wrote for my mom's eulogy, and the piece came from there. It's called 1111, auspicious, conducive to success. This is a very accurate assessment of our mother. Like many great beings that were plunged themselves into inhospitable circumstances, not for fame or glory, she would never ever do that. And as for my grandstanding, my grandstanding would guarantee me the look, which everybody knows. You would never want that. Generally, that would be the first step or steps toward my demise, unless I fly right. I assumed initially that everyone had a single parent who worked 2 jobs to keep her 5 children into Catholic school and behaving properly. But as time wore on, my older siblings definitely took to following in her footsteps on how to live a proper householding life and doing whatever was needed to get done. With that, I sit here typing alone a eulogy for a person who at one point in my life was my world and how I came to it. As I prepared for her services, I found amazing aspects of such a very astonishing person, as she was a graduate of university, all the while helping to raise her 11 siblings, of which she was the eldest. Also working at her family store, and she also kept bees for the family. Then leaving Texas for Los Angeles to begin her married life. So I began to appreciate even more her greatness, although the these are not words she would ever use to describe herself. These are all pieces coming together to give us preparations for life, beginning on such an auspicious date, 11/11. Also, not surprising, my siblings also have born on auspicious dates as well. And I passed this newfound wealth of information to my children who are adults now. And I talk about their ancestors so they may see where they came from. And so they may pass along to their progeny. And with that, happy birthday, Mom, till we meet again. Thank you very much for the opportunity to read my piece. I greatly appreciate it and love listening to everything here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Oh, do I unmute?
Up next, we have Laura Seldner, whose poem is the first one in the anthology.
I didn't know that.
I was gonna go in order, but everything got thrown out of whack.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
You're all the hardcore. Stick around.
I guess, yeah, it must be.
You know.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. The poem that I have in the anthology is called Papas. Once I went with my husband and his father to a salvage yard, and they pulled and pried, father and son, parts they needed, the way his father used to unearth potatoes from the ground. He used to, his father, watch the rain run in rivulets through cobblestones on the street. He used to watch the clouds pour like sea foam into the valley. He used to cut barley and chochos, use his thick fingers dirt beneath the nails to pry loose stalks and grain. When we went to the salvage yard, it had been 23 years since he plunged his hands into the earth of his first breath, and after they'd finished, we ate seco de chivo at a Dominican restaurant nearby. Que rico que es el seco, he'd said. Back home, you know, how good the seco is. It had been 23 years, and now he shows his son how to pick car parts, loosen them without breaking, gather them, use them, fix something that is broken, because here there is no land and there are no potatoes. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Laura. Laura, where are you living now?
I live in Maryland right now. I'm originally from New Jersey.
Oh, great. All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Up next, we have Javier Fuentes Vargas, who is also a published poet with Flower Song Press for his collection Bajo Mist. And he's coming to us from El Salvador, from Santa Ana, El Salvador, where I was actually created.
Un gusto estar
Saludos,
aquí.
Javier.
Saludos, es un gusto estar aquí. Estoy bastante agradecido por la invitación y por estar por segundo año consecutivo publicado en esta antología. Así que voy a leer el texto que aparece en la antología. Es un texto que forma parte de otra colección donde exploro temáticas sobre la casa, la memoria, la familia, el olvido. El texto se titula La casa me recuerda siempre que mis manos están vacías. La casa me recuerda siempre que mis manos están vacías, y si no es un corazón lo que aspiran a sostener, que se acomoden en alguno de los espacios grises donde pueden llorar tranquilamente toda la ausencia que soportan. Mis manos son cada vez más viejas y se cansan hasta de colgar. Mi abuela besaba sus manos cada vez que la carne le fallaba. Nunca entendí el agradecimiento detrás de la traición. Yo deseo de la carne que no entienda las señales del tiempo, que al oír su voz no corra a soportar todos los años que quieran colocar sobre ella. Yo deseo de mis manos que aunque no puedan sostener un corazón, encuentren en la casa algo que no sea gris y pueda decirme desde la otra frontera de los otros colores, el azul que adorna el cielo afuera de mi casa. Yo deseo de la casa todo lo que pueda entregarme. Gracias por el espacio, Edward, y un gusto estar aquí. También un gusto estar con Gabriel. Así que muchas gracias.
Gracias, Javier, gracias. Up next, we have Chara Booker.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Almost good morning. I guess in Maryland, good morning. I'm in San Antonio. I'm part of the Gemini Inc. group here. I'm a published poet, wrote a novel over COVID, still trying to get it together. My piece is called Bomber Jacket. As a child, I would explore my grandparents' closets full of monkey-like curiosity, breathing in my grandmother's scent of gardenias remaining in her coats. That was how I found the bomber jacket. The brown leather, worn with age, the lining silky soft. I slipped my arms into the sleeves, sliding over my hands to show my grandfather. He told me a story of his time working with the Air Force in World War II. I got the jacket and a Colt pistol from them. I gave the gun back afterwards, but I wish I had kept it. It'd be worth a fortune today. I was happy to find the survival guide in the secret pocket. I read about how to make a monkey trap, and then I built one in the backyard because I wanted a new friend. I was so disappointed when I had an empty trap at day's end. How shocked I was when my grandfather told me they trapped the monkeys to eat them. Thank you.
Gracias. Up next, we have Odilia Galvan Rodriguez, who has done some editing work with us in the past with several projects, and she is my publisher of Jazz House and Cry Howl. Odilia, thanks for staying up late, and I can't wait to see you and give you a big old hug. Unmute yourself.
Thanks. It's really great to be here. I have terrible insomnia, so I could, this is like still early for me. I'm not sure which poem of mine got into the anthology. So I'm gonna read.
Read what you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the one of the two that I submitted, and this is from an anthology that's supposed to come out in Havana, Cuba, from UNIAC, which is the Writers and Poets and Actors Guild. I took a delegation of poets in 2017 to the International Poetry Festival there, and this is a poem that I wrote, and one of the Cubanos helped me with the translation. It's called Nomacta Nehuatl, I Myself, por los poemas del maestro Francisco X. Alarcón, Snake Poems, an Aztec Invocation. Yo misma, yo de los siete mares, hija de Yamayá, quien baila bien las olas de dar y recibir, quien ha conocido la sal de 1,000 millones de lágrimas, que ha pagado mis deudas durante todos estos años, yo que respeto toda la vida, yo mujer de la tierra, yo rosa con espinas, yo corazón de tuna, yo lengua afilada, yo buscadora de la verdad, yo encantadora de serpientes, yo machetera por la justicia, yo amante del amor, yo aspirante a visionario, y verás, yo virgen puta, yo mujer que resiste, yo más de lo que puedo, yo mujer sabia, yo herbolaria urbana, descendiente de curanderas, yo escritora, yo altavoz, profesora, yo sembradora de semillas, Nomacta Nehuatl. Gracias.
Gracias, Odilia. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Jocelyn Mejia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jocelyn. I'm from Mexico. I live in Mexico City. I'm a teacher. middle and high school. I will read my poem in English. The Day and 2 Years. Chaos is an hiatus, a ladder to discover the conciliate order. Chaos is nothing but man. Li Wenlian announcing SARS. Rome, Paris, New York confined. The first, the second, the third wave. Equator and death on the street. Antigone, Polynesians, and Creon in 2020. A COVID rate, herd immunity. Minneapolis in flames. America from the Afro-Americans. The attack on the Capitol, the Trumpists' farewell. 6 paralyzed subway lines, the futuristic collapse, the return to the vaccination age on the wheelchairs, dredging one's feet with more than 60 years on top. 12 states without electricity in a pop's streeting its Zoom is era. Chaos is the principle of order. It separates, unifies, and sustains. It balances that which is in the cosmos. In Spanish, los días y 2 años. El caos es un hiato, una escalera, descubrir el orden oculto. El caos no es más que el hombre. Li Wenlian anunciando SARS. Roma, París, New York confinadas. La primera, la segunda, la tercera ola. Ecuador y los muertos en las calles. Antígona, Polínices y Creonte en el 2020. Una fiesta COVID, inmunidad de rebaño. Minneapolis en llamas, América para los afroamericanos, el asalto al Capitolio, la despedida trumpista. 6 líneas del metro paralizadas, el colapso futurista, volver a la edad de las vacunas en silla de ruedas, arrastrar los pies con más de 60 años. 2 estados sin luz en una era post-estridentista, sumista. El caos es el principio del orden. Desprende, unifica y fundamenta. Equilibra lo que está en el cosmos. Gracias. Thank you.
Gracias. Sigue Fátima Alvarado Hernández.
Hola, buenas noches. Primero que nada, pues estoy muy feliz de poder participar en esto y vivir esta experiencia con ustedes. También muchas gracias a los organizadores y a los editores por hacer posible esto. Yo voy a leer un poema que se llama La celebración y habla sobre cómo la pérdida a veces también puede celebrarse a pesar de que duela, porque eso significa cambios y al final pues también es como abrir la puerta hacia nuevas cosas. Okay. La ceremonia. Estaban los platos puestos en la mesa. Había también servilletas decoradas, vasos que centellaban llenos de sangría y en el centro un ramo de florecillas. El cielo se teñía de magenta con detestable crudeza, como sabiendo lo que pasaría. El final de nuestras fechas más adoradas. Los domesticados se volvieron fierecillas. Entre la exacerbación se acercaba el precipicio, que siendo exactos, llegó fútil y sin fundamento. Pero estaba allí, una predicción pretérita que, a juzgar por el momento, llegaba certera. Era nuestra ceremonia, la ceremonia. Con ella carecían impasibles nuestros tiempos felices, sin que existiera entre ellos otra imposición más que la de salir de allí salvajemente y sin regreso. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Fatima. And I do see Nayana Gustovich there on the screen, but
I'm here.
okay. Were you, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking if you were in the anthology or were you a registered reader? I'm just looking.
Just a registered.
Okay. So you can read on Saturday unless you have a poem with you now.
Saturday's fine.
Or do you have a poem now? You've been here for a while.
No, it's in the other room.
Okay. So then I'll read my piece that's in here and then we'll call it a night. Thank you for sticking around. I've never read it, so it's going to be one of those throw it in the air and see how it goes. And it's inspired by listening to a Drake song of all things. It's called Beat, Meat, and Billionaires in Space. The cow wants you to eat the meat. The goat, the chicken, the duck, the fish, all want you to eat. Chew slow and in silence. Even the horse and the guinea pig, the armadillo and the rat. The earth wants you to pull her hair, grab her beats. The corn listens, and poets are still talking about Kerouac and ginseng and Ginsberg and the blues in Mexico City, but not about anything relevant to the blues in Mexico. Here is another beat poem, they say. Up your alley, I say. I've been crying on the low, hiding on the low, healing on the low. I stopped listening to the tone in the poet's voice. I started listening to the words in the poet's song. I've been running in my dreams, dying in yours. This liquid insomnia is a cutter. I have the scars to prove it. I have the dark circles under my eyes. My mouth turns into a candle wax grin. I try to yell, but laughter fumbles between my teeth instead. I can't help but think of the dead. I watch movies and I'm reminded of all the evil that lurks. Where is our Savior? Their Savior. I've been praying for souls, praying for numbers, praying for answers. I dream of cows and billionaires, cows in space, billionaires between two buns with lettuce, tomato, and onions. The cow wants me to eat the meat, slow and in silence. Thank you to everyone in this anthology. We heard a lot of wonderful poetry. We've heard a lot of novice poets here. We've heard some beat poets. We heard poets from Central America, from Mexico, from all over the nation. Lots of Texas poets.
From New Mexico.
Poets, New Mexico poets, California. I want to give thanks again to Gabriel and to Gina for the wonderful job they did in editing this collection. It's one of the more beautiful collections we've had. There's some artwork here by youth, by kids from all over, and there's poetry from kids from all over the Rio Grande Valley, and of course, poems in Spanish and poems in English, and we have poems here that are in Chinese with translations as well. I want to thank our featured poets. I want to thank them for all their time and their wonderful words and their inspiration. As always, thank you, everyone. Today was day one of the 15th annual Rio Grande Valley International Poetry Festival. And then tomorrow we have a plática with Daniel Chacon from El Paso. And then we have a plática with poets from Latin America. There's quite a few. Go to valleypoetryfest.org to see the lineup. Saturday, we'll be back at the incubator for some workshops and readings from presses. And then Sunday, we'll finish it off as well with more workshops and more readings, as well as the final reading on Sunday night by Flower Song Press authors. And I think there's going to be quite a bunch of them joining us. I hope, Odilia, you're one of them. you're one of the first poets published through the press when I took it over. So it's going to be great, and it's still a little, working out the tweaks with the hybrid style of doing it Zoom and virtual and whatever you call it, and then in person as well. But thank you so much. You have a great night or have a wonderful morning. And Anthony, I love your background. Don't go out anywhere because you've had a few drinks. Thank you again. Thank you for all those that stick around. I want to thank Victoria here at the McAllen Incubator and everyone involved with the Unfolded Poetry Project. They're doing wonderful things here. She is the new City of McAllen Poet Laureate. And so let's all excited about that. Thank you again. And we'll be back with more stuff, and follow Rio Grande Valley International Poetry Festival page. Follow Flower Song Press, and look for Victoria Lopez, our new poet laureate here in McAllen. And if you have any questions about anything, let us know. We're happy to be here, and hope you have a great night. Thank you.